Welcome back, rookies. So, it's been almost a year since our last video on pausing on building in Joshua Tree, and I have some updates about our journey. If you haven't seen the video we did prior to this about a year ago, I will leave a link in the description below. Please go and take a look so you can be all caught up. In this video, I'll tell you about the new direction my wife and I took over the last year, and why we haven't necessarily given up on our Joshua Tree Airbnb yet. If you've been questioning whether or not you still want to invest in Joshua Tree, or have some fear about the current state of the area, then this video should help you see both sides of the coin a little more clearly. After having had some time to sit back and reflect on what our next steps would be since pausing on building in Joshua Tree, we thought about a couple of things. One, if we weren't going to start our real estate journey with a vacation rental in Joshua Tree, how were we going to start? Two, we really didn't have any experience, particularly as a landlord, so what would be the best way to gain some? Being that I'm someone who is risk averse or quote unquote frugal, I was most interested in reducing our housing expense. What I kept coming across time and time again was this idea of house hacking being the ultimate way to get your feet wet in real estate and trying your hand at being a landlord. Looking back, the issues that kept us from moving forward in Joshua Tree was a blessing in disguise. I don't think we really had enough experience yet to manage our first short-term rental nearly 2.5 hours away from us. Remember, we are rookies, just like you. And house hacking will bring the experience of being a landlord right to our doorstep, literally. So the plan would be to live in this fixer home and renovate it slowly, bit by bit. Starting with the section of the home we would want to rent out, so we could bring in enough income to afford the rest of the renovations. The section of the home we want to rent out already has a small bedroom, bathroom, and a little kitchenette. It also has a separate entrance. House hacking seemed to be the only way for us to afford any type of home in Los Angeles, especially since it needed to be a fixer that would need to be renovated. But that journey is a story for another video, and not the intention of this one. If you're interested in hearing about our search and eventual purchase of our home in LA to house hack, then leave a comment below. And if you want to help a fellow rookie, please like and subscribe. It helps so much. Thanks. In the last video, I mentioned how the County of San Bernardino, where our land is located, had paused on issuing any new short-term rental permits. Since that time, they did resume in allowing new permits under certain conditions and regulations. The restrictions on any new short-term rental permits to be issued are as follows. Number one, the fees went up for these permits. Number two, they will only allow 2 short-term rentals per property owner per parcel. Or if they're on different parcels, only 2 short-term rentals max per owner. It should be noted the 2 short-term rentals per parcel per owner applies to parcels over 2 acres in size where you can fit a single-family home and an accessory dwelling unit, also known as ADU. This would be your max if you permitted them both. It also excludes any type of glamping, tents, mobile homes, etc. But it does not exclude any type of manufactured or prefabricated homes. Also, there's a 60-day turnaround to receive your permit. Occupancy allowance is now based on how many bedrooms as opposed to how much square footage. These new set of rules wouldn't really affect us, and in fact, it would make us consider the possibility of building again in the distant future. But what about the oversaturation concerns mentioned in the last video? Or the higher cost of building? Well, with the turn of the economy over the last year or so, including rising interest rates combined with these new regulations, has helped shake off many would-be investors and perhaps pushed out some institutional investors. Also, other people I've met who rent out in the area confirm the crazy appreciation homes were having before and during COVID has subsided. But demand is still relatively strong for short-term rentals. From what I've gathered, the most successful home size for short-term rentals is the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom layout. It's most affordable for couples to travel together to a beautiful place like Joshua Tree, especially during these uncertain and inflationary times. And what about the cost of building? Well, that's still a struggle. So we started to think differently about this. We've seen firsthand how much it's costing us to slowly renovate our first and current home as a house hack. In fact, we had to sell our 5-acre and one of our 2.5-acre parcels in Joshua Tree to bring in more funds for these renovations. We decided to keep the remaining 2.5-acre parcel, which ran parallel to the other 2.5-acre parcel we sold. For those of you who've seen my previous videos, the remaining parcel is the one with the existing water meter, which now costs almost $15,000 to $20,000 to install. It also has a utility pole nearby that used to connect to a cabin on the property that burned down years ago, which saves us nearly $30,000, the cost of having to add one of those utility poles. Getting back to how we may consider building on the land now, I don't know if you saw that most recent tweet that went viral, in which he showed a $43,000 kit home for sale at Home Depot. It certainly got me thinking, knowing it would cost more these days to ship the prefab home we were designing with a company in another state. See previous video on this in the description. What if we were to purchase a kit home like this and get the contractors we're working with on our home now to help build it for us? thinking this could potentially save us upwards of $200,000 to $300,000 in comparison to the prefab home we were going to build. But let's not get too excited. Having looked into this more, the reason why it's so cheap is because they only really provide the steel frame for the home. You would have to install the drywall, electrical, plumbing, etc. These costs would easily add up to almost the same price of the prefab home we designed to be built and shipped. So, for now, we will continue to hold on to our 2.5-acre parcel of land, having much less tax liability since selling our other 2 plots, and save money with our current house act to eventually put towards building on our land in the future. Perhaps, if things stay steady in the market, we could potentially pull equity or a line of credit from our home to help afford this build as well. By the way, if you're interested in seeing videos of current renovations of our house in LA, let me know in the comments. Other than that, this is all we have to report on at the moment. Keep an eye out for another video I did not finish from last year, which I should be releasing soon, in which I talk about other alternatives we've considered regarding building and renting a Joshua Tree. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting our rookie journey. We only wish to give you insight to your rookie journeys as well. And check out our other videos in the description below by clicking on the Short-Term Rookie playlist. Also, if you're interested in seeing photos and videos of the renovations of our 100-year-old fixer-upper home, consider following our Instagram handle, @ShortTermRookie. Have a great week, rookies, and remember, you're only rookies for the short term, so long as you don't give up. But what about the oversaturation concerns mentioned in the last video, or the higher build of costing? Comparison to the prefab? In comparison to the prefab. Why am I saying prefab? In comparison to the prefab home we were designing, now I have it in my head. In comparison to the prefab, yes.